What is up, YouTube? That's here. Today we're fixing more teams submitted to me on Patreon. Today we have a Dialga, Bronzong, Incineroar, Indeedee, Calyrex Ice, and Grimmsnarl team. It was submitted to me, like I said, on Patreon. The official post is right here. There's a link to it in the description. If there's a team you want me to fix for Series 12 VGC, send it to the official Patreon post, even the lowest tier. I'm going to do my very best to check all these teams. Today's team was actually the first one. I'm fixing them basically in whatever order I feel like. But realms of code right here, and they say the main weaknesses are ghost and dark types, such as Cali Shadow, Yveltal, Dark Urshi, and you're open to any changes. So again, there's tons of stuff here. We're trying our very best to look at all of them. And I do think that this team, it's great on paper, but there's so many little things that we can change to make this team actually shine at the highest level. Bronzong, for example, I'll just say it. A lot of the team right here is 252 spreads, like 252 Bronzong, 252, 252 Dialga. Same thing on the Calyrex, same thing on the Indeedee, and we can tweak all of these. Like, this Bronzong can be made into something really, really special. That's the way that I like to use Bronzong, to help it in your Kyogre matchup, while also being able to eat an Astral Barrage from a Calyrex Shadow. That's really, really good. The Dialga can be changed just a little bit. The Incineroar can be changed a little bit. The Indeedee can be changed a little bit. The Grimmsnarl can be changed a lot. And the Calyrex Ice can be optimized just a little bit to where it actually, doesn't have the weaknesses to the things that, Jake said there are weaknesses to. We can definitely help it have a better matchup against things like Yveltal, Calyrex Shadow, Dark Urshi, stuff like that. So, wish me luck. We're just going to hop into a few games, and then we're going to fix all this stuff at the end of the video. But before we get into that, I just want to say there's a question today. Think about answering it. Let me know what you think the best restricted Pokemon is now that we have a fully developed meta. Realistically, I think it's Dialga. I've been using Dialga in a lot of my teams recently, and there's a reason for it. I think it's the best. I think it has the least amount of counters, and I think that it lets me play the game at the tempo that I want to play it. So my vote's for Dialga. Let me know your answer in the comments below, and we're going to hop right on into today's battles. Here we go. Never thought I'd see the day where we see, like, Calyrex Shadow and Palkia. And Garchomp. Oh, man, that's scary. We definitely want to Trick Room here, but we want to do our best to not, like, auto-lose to, like, Imprison Tech or getting Trick Room back by, like, Shadow Riders. So the safest way we have to Trick Room is probably a Cali lead, just because it has the, best defensive. Actually, no, let's see. Maybe it's Dialga. See, the Dialga spread here, I would really like to change it so we don't just auto-lose to, like, a bunch of weird stuff. It's not bulky enough. So I think we're still going to go Dialga, though. Dialga's probably the best. And I think you have to go Indeedee anytime you're facing down Urshifu, otherwise you just get sent to the blender. You're going to Cali Ice in the back, and is it either Grim or Incin? Incin's not nearly going to be as good as we think. I think that Grim's probably just a little bit better. It's also better at soaking damage versus like a lot of those mons. It can swap it on Dragon attacks from the Palkia, it can swap it on Ghost attacks from the Cali Shadow, and Wicked Blows from the Urshi Dark potentially. So I think Grim's going to be just a little bit better. There are a lot of changes I would make to this team, and I plan on going over them at the end of the video, so stick around. We're going to change all the EVs and show how to make this team optimal. Right now, a lot of these sets are like 252 spreads, very basic spreads, very basic items, and we're going to change a lot of it at the end of the video. I actually can't wait, because this team can actually be made into something that's really, really, high level. So, Palkia, Heliolisk, again, I hope I just don't get Trick Roomed, but Indeedee should do a good job about waiting out the Heliolisk, even if they max. The issue with this, right, is if your opponent has a board where they want to go, like, immediately read you using Trick Room and Trick Room back, it's really, really hard for them. All the pressure's on them. Because, like, this first turn, I can go Follow Me Trick Room, right? And then if, they hit our Indeedee and do, like, half or whatever, the next turn, we could just go Follow Me Trick Room again and force them to the same play. Or we could just max, not use Trick Room, do something else, and they might just Trick Room themselves. So it's always a really dicey play from their side if that's how they want to do it. The right way to, like, Trick Rooms is usually to wait for the Trick Room to go active and then set up a board where you can Trick Room it back the next turn. But, that's also really hard to do. So I think we're going to be fine getting up Trick Room here. The fact we're not seeing Palkia Max is scary because they might be Trick Room in our Trick Room. But let's see. Obviously, Heliolisk would go first. Thunderbolt's fine here. And let's see, are they actual legends? Ancient Power. Please no boost. Please no boost. Oh, no. Okay, no boost. All right, cool. So, and then what we want to do in this situation is just nuke that Palkia so we don't have to worry about it Trick Rooming our Trick Room. It could be sashed, and so believe it or not, we're actually going to click the... I thought about going for the... what is it? I thought about going for the Helping Hand, but I'm gonna just go for the, you know, max dragon attack and just go for an Expanding Force to break Sash if it is Sash. There's also not that many mons can switch in on this very well, so we're gonna be maxing. Remember, you still want to be using Roar of Time over Draco Meteor. It's just that it's more power, and Expanding Force will break Sashes, targeting that Palkia slot just in case. But we are going to be in a really, really good spot here, so we're going to be able to break Sashes. I'm assuming the Sash is in the Hell List, but you never know. You really, really never know. I guess it could have been like Habomberry Palkia, right? That'd be scary. There was a time back when Habomberry Palkia was like low-key, almost usable, back in 2016. Just because, like, you know, other than Xerneas, you know, it could fight any other dragons if you gave it a Habomberry, basically. Let's see, what are you going to do here? Maxing something. It's probably going to be a Palkia max. I'd be surprised to see a Heliolisk mask, and, sorry, Dynamax, and even if they do max it, the Heliolisk is pretty bad, so we're okay. So, oh my gosh, they do it. They're maxing the Heliolisk. I've said it before. I've actually made a couple of videos talking about exclusively Heliolisk and how even if that Pokemon's performing at its absolute best, it's still almost a liability. Like, it doesn't have Fake Out. It doesn't have very good speed control. It doesn't have like dynamic speed control. It's not that strong. And so, really, in any situation where you'd see Heliolisk, you're probably better off using a real restricted, like it's not that it's taking a restricted slot, but you're better off using a restricted, a Fake Out user, a redirection mon. There's just so many different things that are usable over Heliolisk, even in its best situation, really. I have no clue what that overgrowth is about. Well, even though this guy is going to get absolutely washed by our team, we can use this as an example as to how to play correctly in any situation. Just because they're not doing the right things doesn't mean that we're not. You know, we got our Trick Room up safely. We talked about the good and bad things of them Trick Room our Trick Room. We broke potential Sashes. We talked about using Roar of Time instead of using Draco Meteor. But we're going to be good in this situation, probably no matter what they send out. They still have a Shadow Rider, and that could technically still be Sash, so we would probably just double into that thing, because again, you just want to stop them from having Sashes at this point. And it's going to be Urshi Dark, so a little bit Never Lucky. In this situation, I would probably, like, Indeedee can't do that much against Urshifu, so I would probably just go for... I would get the Heliolisk off the board. We'll go for a Max Wormwind, and we'll just go for a Follow Me, and then we'll lose the Indeedee, and then we'll bring out Cali Ice and just win the game. How's that sound? That sounds pretty good, right? Man, that Indeedee Expanding Force did so much. How much investment does this Indeedee have in special attack? Is it full? Bro, it is. That's crazy. Yeah, a lot of 2v2 sets on this team. So let's see the, break the Heliolisk right there. And again, the reason why Roar Time's better is it's 150, so it's 10 base power stronger all the time, and then even once you're done with your max turns, you're still able to fire off a potential 150 base power move. So even though you're out of max turns, you're still firing off like max level damage. It's really, really good. It's the same reason why I like Charizards and use Blast Burn and stuff like that. Close combat. They'll take a defense drop. We do be taking those. That means they must have went for the close combat in the Dialga, so Follow Me was the right play in that situation. They're on their last 2 mons, and yeah, we're sitting pretty. We have 1 more max turn left, and it's probably just better to go Cali, like realistically. The Urshi has a stat drop on its attack. Obviously, Wicked Blow goes through that, but we can just double into Urshi this turn and basically ignore their last mon, even if it's Cali. I think it's still fine to ignore. That's probably their Sash is somewhere. Where's the Sash, guys? Where do you think the Sash is? Because we can go Quake. Yeah, I think the right play is probably to Quake the Urshi and Glacial Lance. Just because that would give us a Spadef boost. Did they just DC? No, they didn't. Okay. Yeah, I'll just go Quake into the Urshi and Glacial Lance. And then we can just soak the damage from the Cali Shadow. Protect? No Protect. We take those. Glacial Lance. Which horse is best? Boom. One-shots Urshi, because he had the defense drop. Yeah. No Sash there. I thought Sash was on the Urshi. Realistically, that's one of the reasons why you still wanted to go after it. Because Urshi would be a problem if they waited out the Trick Room. Like, let's say the Calyrex protected, and the Urshi, like, you know, did something crazy. That'd be really bad. Or the Urshi protected. Sorry, yeah. If the Urshi protected and the Cali Trick Room to our Trick Room right there, oh, that'd be hard to deal with. Because then Urshi would give a big pin on us, just to be able to Wicked Blow everyone out. So, we take those. We do be taking those. Zacian Kyogre. Very, very standard. Okay, I think Dialga is good here. We can definitely get up a Trick Room here with Dialga if we want. And I can't wait to change all these EV spreads. Literally, every single one of these Pokemon is going to get a brand new EV spread that's busted. Bronzong, for example, the EV spread they're using right here is something like 252 HP defense, and realistically, you should be putting most of your points in Special D. That way you can actually have a Water Spout from Kyogre. So we would actually would have loved to use Bronzong in this matchup, but they're not really going to give us a shot. I think Indeedee Dialga is good. One good thing about Indeedee Dialga here is we can redirect the taunts, and you can't taunt us with a Prankster taunt. So we're pretty safe to go Trick Room like this, bring out the Cali in the back to avoid the Intimidate, even though it's fine we have White Herb. And then our last Mon. It's a really hard situation. Grim is okay. Foul Play is like kind of just run-of-the-mill. I think you want the Incin. I know that we're going to be having the Terrain battle with Indeedee, but I think the Incin is going to be okay. You know what? We're just going to bring the Bronzong. Bronzong's a niche pick here, but I think Bronzong is the safest way to get TR back up if something goes wrong. It's also a great Mon versus Lando in the late game. Again, I'm not big a fan of this like Bronzong EV spread and moveset, but Bronzong does have the tools that you should be bringing versus like Kyogre Zacian. It's the reason why you actually use a Bronzong is for this matchup, just because it's so good against Zacian late game. It's really hard for Zacian to pin it. It basically can lead to another Trick Room. So we're hopefully going to be fodding our Indeedee, getting him a Trick Room, bringing in our Cali, and just like last game, we're going to try our very, very best to be a bully. And the faster we win this game, the faster we get to fix this team. Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. So let's see, Indeedee Ogre. Okay. Indeedee Ogre can be a little bit dicey. So like if that's a Helping Hand Spout, we die. Because this Dialga's not built right. It doesn't have enough specialty. It's just a 252 HP special attack set, so it needs a little bit more specialty to not die to that. If they max it, I think we're still going to click to follow me, because I want to stop the max. Do I care about that? That's actually a really good question. We need to Trick Room. We don't want to switch in any of those guys. I'm going to Expanding Force this turn. Soak the damage, get good chip damage on that Kyogre if they don't max it. And break the Indeedee Sash. I think this is a good play. You want to target the slot that wouldn't be, like, because Rilla can switch in and take away Terrain. And so, I wanted to hit the Ogre, so I'm going to hit the Ogre, just in case. Just in case I switch out Indeedee or something. There's the Helping Hand Spout. See, it's almost like I play the game. Really, it's almost like I play the game. Yeah, let's see. This Dialga can die to a Spout if it's Spexed. Cool, they're not Spexed. They're pretty standard looking. That might even be a Scarf Ogre, realistically. We're gonna be able to see a lot more about its set after it takes this Expanding Force, and then next turn they're probably just gonna go for like a Follow Me play. But we're breaking the Indeedee Sash, doing good damage to that Ogre. That looks to be a Scarf Ogre. If I had to take a guess on that Ogre set, I'd say that's highly possible that's Scarfed. We can KO the Indeedee right here and then get a single target move into the Kyogre. The Indeedee did not get a boost from a Psychic Seeds, right? This is a really weird situation because I would love to go for the Quake into the Indeedee if I think it could KO. And I would love to go for the... I am going to go for the Draco. I do not think that they're switching Zacian in that slot. I really just don't. And then we're going to try and get a one-hit KO because Expanding Force would be a single target move into that Kyogre. And that'll let us win the game. This is basically going to let us steal this game, depending on how this goes. If that Indeedee protects, this is going to be really, really bad. I don't think the Indeedee would protect with Kyogre high and dry. So let's see how this goes. Realistically, I guess I probably should have double targeted the Kyogre. You know, in hindsight, 2020. But you don't want to target the Kyogre with a Wormwind either, because that's a slot that would switch out for Zacian, I think, if they were going to switch anything. Because it's really obvious that, you know, just fire a Dragon Attack into that slot. They're definitely thinking about it, though. So let's see how this one goes. I think we're going to be okay. Cool, no switches, that's good. And I think that's a Scarf Ogre. I'm really just getting Scarf Ogre vibes from this guy. It's not Specs, and that didn't look like Mystic Water either. And it's not vested, so it's like, what other item is it? It wasn't orbed, right? So we're maxing a very low HP Dialga, but we basically have a delete button for the next 3 or 4 turns. No protects, please. They are maxing their Ogre. Okay. Good news is they're maxing a Mon that's at half. So that means that when we went for that Expanding Force on turn 1, that was by far and away the right play. The bad news is they're going to do a lot of damage. Hopefully they just target our Indeedee. But who knows? Indeedee could also crit out the Ogre. The Indeedee could also crit the Ogre out. That is an option. Are you going to protect Indeedee and max your Ogre? Okay, cool. Oh, Indeedee's slower than Dialga. Oh, that's wrong then. I'm all wrong. I'm just bad at this game, I guess. Dialga should be slower than Indeedee. When you make your Mons, you can make it like that. So, yeah. That's wrong. So, oh well. Because it's like Quiet Nature, Reduced Speed Dialga, I assumed it would be slower than the Indeedee. It's my fault. So this is all wrong, all bad. We're probably going to lose the Dialga this turn. And we keep a... Oh, we might not die. 5 HP, baby. We take those. We take those. We'll die to, like, any priority move, though. Actually, no, there's a train. We're fine. Ugh, yeah. This is what I get. This is what happens to me when I use rental codes. You know, I always look so much more flustered and out of my element when I use a rental code. Because, like, I have no clue half the time how these things work. But let's see. Since we know Indeedee is going to be... I'm just going to take out the Ogre and follow me. Right? I think that's the right play. Taking out Ogre and just using Follow Me opens up a spot for Calyrex to come back out on the board. I think that's fine. Oh, but then why Follow Me? We might as well just Protect and hit the Kyogre then. Yeah, that's way better. Yeah, that's so much better. And we're protecting here so we don't, like, lose it versus anything. Protect Thunder or Torn. And so, like, next turn when we go Glacial Lance Expanding Force, we'll be able to double tap that guy in case he's holding a Sash. Why does Protect go before my Indeedees? Is he Iron Ball? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's Prankster boosted. I'm an idiot. I'm like, what? Oh, we crit that. Oh, man. Yeah, you can see these round codes, man. They definitely throw me for a loop. Yeah, it's Prankster. It boosts Protect as well. There was a weird mechanic where that actually worked in the Genie's favor. I think, was it Gen 5? I think it made it avoid something. It was something weird. But let's see. We should bring up Cali here. So they're 2 mons down. We basically have to win the game with a Cali right here. So if they have like Zacian here, we'd have to go like Helping Hand, High Horsepower. And we should still have like 2 turns of Trick Room, so we're fine. We win. Easy peasy. No Zacian. Should have brought Zacian. And even if there's a Sash somewhere here, we just win. There is 2 turns left, right? And we get the Wide Herb to clear that up. Great use of the Wide Herb. But yeah, in terms of like how this team plays, it's a very, very simple like redirection TR. It probably has a bad time fighting against like Yveltal's, bad time fighting against other Trick Rooms. And we're going to fix all of that. We're going to fix all of it, and I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks and all the cool things you can do to change everything after we win. Yeah, Lando's a cool mon. It's just really hard to make Lando work if you don't lead with it against Cali teams. It can be good against Dialga, really, really bad versus Cali. I definitely would have brought the Zacian here. But even if they did bring the Zacian, we just would have spent the 2 turns doubling into it. You could taunt, there's a Trick Room, there's a terrain on the board, so. Lances up! The biggest lance you've ever seen. Yeet. Where's the Sash? There it is, on that Thundy. So I wonder what the item was on the Indeedee. It was probably like Safety Goggles is a pretty common item on that thing. And I do think the play that won this game realistically was the Expanding Force turn 1. Really able to soften up the Ogre and help us understand what the Ogre set was. And then when they maxed over next turn, it was basically useless. So really, really good stuff. And now, the fun part of the video where we get to fix all the stats. Oh man, I'm excited. Let's hop right into it. All right, so those were 2 pretty quick games, I would say. We basically just got up TR and just rolled people. And it means the team can function totally normally doing that. There's nothing wrong with how this team won those games. But remember, this team was submitted by Jake, and they want to improve their matchup versus Ghost types, Dark types, Cali S, Yveltal, Dark Urshi, and they're open to any changes. So we're going to make a ton of changes. You can see the rental code, or sorry, the Poke Paste is right here. You can see like 252 Dialga. This is a Grim set that I think I recommended in a video a while back, but we're going to completely change this just because I recommend a set. There's nothing wrong with you guys using those in your games, but, you know, every team has a specific set for a reason, and I think if you're going to be using a Screens Grimmsnarl, it's okay. This is a good set for it, but it's always team specific, so be on the lookout for that. 252 Cali can definitely be optimized. 252 Bronzong can definitely be optimized. In Sin, it's an okay in Sin spread, but we're going to change it just a little bit as well, and the Indeedee can definitely be optimized a lot. So let's start with Dialga. Like, Grim Dialga is what I actually think you should be going with almost every single time with this team. You shouldn't want to go Indeedee. Like, Indeedee should be your option when you're out of options, right? When you're like, I guess I'll go Redirection Trick Room. You shouldn't be excited about Indeedee Trick Room because the good players will just wait you out, use things like Snarls, and use a lot of AoE attacks to abuse you. You're also susceptible to getting imprisoned. You're also susceptible to getting like your Trick Roomed back. Things like Screens, Intimidate cycles. It's really, really bad when you want to go Indeedee, right? You should be using Indeedee to bait your opponent into over-respecting Indeedee. And then that's where something like Grim and Dialga can be really good because it can punish the things that you know, Indity's weak to. So with Dialga, let's take a look at Dialga first. The first thing you want to change is Draco Meteor should definitely be Roar Time. I think I mentioned it like 10 times in the video. It's just 10 base power stronger, which means it's a stronger max move, and then when you're done, you're still going to keep your max calcs while using Roar Time. So you're still hitting for 150. And yeah, there's that recharge, but it's not the biggest deal. Realistically, you should only be playing about 5 to 6 turn games. This is a very aggressive team once you get TR up. So, you know, Roar Time's better. And again, this is still going to be a Trick Room team, but it's not going to be as reliant on Trick Room, which is what we're going to change. So let's start talking about what Dialga needs. Realistically, Dialga does not need this much special attack. It still needs to have a special attack boosting nature, but I really think that Dialga, the most special attack you're going to need is 204. And the reason being is that Dialga has such a high special attack that you're basically overkilling anything that you're going to overkill. And this is the least amount you need to one-shot things with the orb. Basically, Dialga with the Life Orb is doing like roughly the same amount of damage as like most Pokemon do with the Weakness Policy proc. So this, all you really need to know is that you're still maintaining all the KOs that you would get with that 2v2 set, but this opens up a lot more EVs. Dialga also doesn't need as much HP, in my opinion. On my Dialga sets, I usually run like this much HP, and this allows us to put just a little bit more in each respective defense to help our matchups for things like Kyogre, Cali Shadow, and Zacian Sacred Sword. So in these situations, we also need to put a little bit in speed. You're like, speed? Why would you put speed on a Trick Room team, Dialga? We need to pair it with Grim to be able to outspeed specific things. Holy moly. I actually think about 20 points in speed's good, so you go to 113. It's going to let you, with a Scary Face up, outspeed things like Zacian and Shadow Rider. So if we lead with Grim and we make our team correctly, we can really, really punish those Zacians and Shadow Riders like we were talking about doing. So it's really, really good. So you can see right here, we have 80 points to spend. And we can spend that basically any way we want. The last thing you also want to do is definitely go Pressure. Pressure is an amazing ability in any format, and we don't need Telepathy since there's nothing we're really afraid of. So definitely go Pressure in these situations. But what do we want to do with these last EVs? Let's go to the damage calculator here. So we're going to plug in Dialga. Big Dialga energy here. We're going to plug in a 204, set it to level 50 as we be doing, and let's plug in a Zacian. So plug in like a standard Zacian. Give it 252 attack. We're going to do a Jolly Zacian for this calc. We're going to do Sacred Sword. And you can see, after we set Zacian to 50 Lamau, you can see he doesn't KO off this spread. So, like, again, this is going to make it so if we put just a little bit in here, we won't die if we have to take, like, Life Orb Chip and a Sacred Sword. First of all, we're already out of Sacred Sword range, but we would really like is to not die to this. So this is what we don't want to die to. So in case we actually need to just go Trick Room, we won't die. So we want to put points in there. I think we have up to 76 points to really spend on it. So we don't need that many, but we want to drop it to right there. So 52 is going to make it so we never die to that Sacred Sword. And, you know, I'm sure that when you're playing your games, you know, it's a good calc to have, is to not die to that Sacred Sword. I'm sure everyone's had to eat at least one Sacred Sword with a Dialga. And yeah, we would probably die to our Life Orb Tick next turn if they high rolled, but at least we had our Trick Room up, which could allow us to win the game with something like Incineroar or Cali in the back. Another thing I want to go back and take a look at is, like, let's just go like 252 nothing. Do you see how the 252 calc you had before just gets KO'd by Sacred Sword, but by taking some points out of HP and putting it all into defense, putting those points specifically into defense, we're able to not die to Sacred Sword, which is really, really good. And then the rest of the points we can just put in Specialty. Cool beans. So we have correct speed tiering, we have enough special attack, we have enough bulk to not die to things. So it's just a more optimized version of the exact same set that you're running. Really, really good stuff. The next set, we're going to be taking a look at this Grim. I'm sure you're probably going to know what the Grim set I'm going to recommend is, and that's going to be a Fake Out Grim. I think Fake Out Grim is going to be really, really underrated, and it's Fake Out Grim that allows us to be a big bully versus like Incineroars and other Mons. And this Grim is what we're going to lead with a lot if we want to go Trick Room. So we can fake out their Incins, get up Trick Room that way, or we can fake out, you know, any other slower fake out users like their Grims and just punish it right away with that Algo. We can punish Whimsicott, we can punish any Taunt Mons, things like that. Fake Out's going to be really, really good and great in a best of one situation for this team. We're going to keep the Scary Face and we're going to go Fake Tiers here. I do like the Fake Tiers here, especially when paired with Dialga. So this is what our check for like Kyogres are. We can check Groudons with this. We can check Zapdoses with this. A lot of those weird max mons that like aren't necessarily restricted. So we can just use this to check almost anything, and it's going to be really, really good and to compare well with the Indity if they're a flyer, or with the Dialga with, you know, if you just want to pot shot something. And as for the last move, I think Foul Play is still fine, but we're going to have to drastically change our EV spread. I think I talked about this in a previous version here. We still have the Zacian plugged in. Let's check out Grimmsnarl here. The Grimmsnarl set that I recommend most people use in this format is going to be something like this. It's going to be 156 HP, 252 Impish, and I am a big fan of using a Berry. I don't think Screen Scrim is good. If you wanted to cut, what is it? The fake tiers for a screen, you could, but you don't need screens on this team. You're not playing a long game. You're trying to win the game within like 5 or 6 turns. You don't need screens, especially light play screens. But you can see how if we make this guy Jolly again, and we make it with Behemoth Blade, we can see that it doesn't KO our Grim at all right here. And if we make them Adamant, which is uncommon, they have the slightest % chance. They have a 6.3% chance to KO, which is not realistically going to happen, especially if we can weave in like an Intimidate from our Sin. But this is the most we can actually afford to put in bulk. I keep going to this page. This is the most we can actually afford to put in bulk if we want to have the 100 base speed that we need. So we take a bunch of these points out. 252 plus. And then we go 100 here. And the reason we're going 100 speed is so we can fake out other fake out users. So we're going to be able to be a bully versus other Grims and other Insins. And we're going to be able to function at a speed tier which they're not going to expect us to be at. And so this is a really, really good lead. You're going to be surprised how many games you win just by using this Grim and this Dialga spread together. Really, really good stuff. I'd highly recommend it. And I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised by how well this works. As for the Kali, right? You can keep the wide herb if you're someone that's prone to getting heavily intimidated. But I realistically think this should be a Psychic Seeds. I think Psychic Seeds is going to be a really, really good way to help. I'm going to deliberately go to this page now. You know, your weaknesses to like Ghost types and Dark types like Yveltals and, you know, Shadow Riders, and even like Kyogre Water Spouts. You're able to better soak that damage by going for a Psychic Seeds play. And then if you're going to go Psychic Seeds, basically you can think of it functioning like an Assault Vest play. So it's going to be like the best of both worlds. Similar to Dialga, you don't need to have that much attack. You have so much attack, you're already going to be OHKOing the things you want to OHKO. This much attack lets you still OHKO Zacian with high horsepower, so you don't need any more than that. And then we're going to be able to go 60 in Spadef. And remember, we're going to double dip on this investment because we have the Psychic Seeds that's going to be able to boost every single point we invest in it, a 1.5 on that. So it's going to be really, really good. And this is going to let us, you're going to see, I'm going to go right here. We're going to go plug in a Kali Ice. So plug in a Kali Ice right here. Make sure it's level 50. And we're going to go 250 to 60 with a +1. That's a +1. Know what I'm saying? And let's plug in Kali Shadow. Plug in Kali Shadow. Give it like a 252. Obviously, it's still going to be timid, so it doesn't really matter. Let's give it Astral. Make it 50, obviously. Oh, it's so tedious having to do these calcs. You see how they don't even do half now, right? And so you can just soak so much more damage from a Kali. Even if there were to be like a weird Modest set, or maybe even if they had like a Life Orb or something. You see how we're still alive? Versus like before, we'd be like mostly gone. We take out the Spadef boost. Right there. So you see we'd be exactly dead if they had like a Modest Life Orb set. And now, you know, if we go back to what our set is, give our +1. And we give ourselves 60 points. It's not even close, right? So we're able to safely get up Trick Room in front of Kali, which is really, really nice. Kali Shadow. So you can tell this set's going to be able to function at the same way offensively while putting a lot more investment in bulk. It works the same way versus like Kyogre, right? Let's go to Kyogre here. So Kyogre, set it to 50. Make sure it's raining. So like Water Spout. And you can see if we have doubles, rain, let's give it the investment that it needs. Let's give it like a Modest Nature. And there's some calc that let's see what we're not missing. So like if we were to take all these points out, and then let's give them a +1 from like a Helping Hand. You see that's a 101? It's the exact same calc basically. It's weird how that works, right? It's almost like these Pokemon have like the exact same special attack, right? But you can see how calcing for one also helps you like deal with the other one in certain situations. But yeah, 60 points right here, +1 Spadef, and a Helping Hand like Modest Kyogre Spout can't KO you. And so you're able to safely work in those situations, whereas normally you wouldn't. So it's pretty good. As for the Bronzong, I think the best Bronzong set only uses 84 here. And then I like to put 172 here, and this is going to work in a very similar way. Not against the super crazy Kyogre, right? But against like a standard Kyogre, which we'll talk about right here. It would be Sassy Nature. Let's take away... Well, you can kind of see it right there. Let's put the rain back up. Let's take away its Helping Hand, and you can see We do not die there to Modest, and even if they have like a, what is that, like a Mystic Water, which is a very still common item on Kyogre, they still can't get the KO. Mystic Water Kyogre still can't get the KO on Bronzong. So this set works versus that, and let's go like to Cali Shadow. Cali Shadow shouldn't be able to get the KO either. Yep, so Cali Shadow can't get the KO either. So, you know, that's good. Versus like the set you had before, you had a percent chance to die. 6.3%, but you still had the percent chance to die. So 172 is going to give us a lot more bulk. And you may be thinking like, but my Iron Defense. Realistically, the move that you want here is Protect. And the reason you want Protect is so you can weave that in between ally switch turns to elongate the game and just be a bit of a bully. I think the Mental Orb is still the correct item here. It's the safest way to not get taunted on this team, because you can still get abused by like people dealing with Indeedee. So I still like the Mental Orb here. I like the ally switch, but Protect is the move you want to weave in every other turn, basically. So Protect is very, very important on this guy, and you still have enough damage to be a bully with Body Press. Another thing you could really do that I like, and this is just me, my personal opinion, you could actually cut the Body Press for Flash Cannon, because the Cali Ice matchup, let's plug in Cali Ice again one more time. Look at all these extra calcs. Like, see, it's cool when I make teams, when I get to fix teams on stuff that I like. You know, you can tell that, you know, this is a sort of core that I actually have like a lot of calcs and stuff for. But like Flash Cannon's a 3-shot on, with 0 investment against like rare Cali Ice, and like what's Cali Ice doing to you? So like I actually think you should put Flash Cannon here, and I think it's really, really cool. It also makes Bronzong like a sort of like pseudo niche max option. When I went to, Utah Regionals, I maxed my Bronzong a few times, and sometimes it's just the sauce. So try the Flash Cannon. It's actually pretty cool, and you'd be surprised how well it works. As for the Incin, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a slow Incin, but I don't even think this team really needs Incin, especially because Grim's taking a lot more of the fake out, energy for the team. So I think if you were to cut this Pokemon for anything, or if you were to cut a Pokemon from the team for anything you wanted, you'd cut the Incin for something. There's not that much you could realistically put in here instead, so Incin's okay. But I do think the biggest change to Incin is I'm not a big fan of Throat Chop on slow Incin, and maybe your play here is to like get up a Trick Room and then bring out the Incin and Throat Chop their Incin so they can't Parting Shot you. But in reality, you should just have a faster Incin to do that. And so if you're going to keep this Incin set, which again, I like the 100 attack Incin, this is the calc that you need to KO Zacians, which is why I understand it's here. You should realistically change this to Darkest Lariat, just because it's a stronger move first of all, and it's able to hit through boosts. Realistically, the Pokemon I would put here, if I were the one using this team, is I would put Torkoal here. And the reason I'd put Torkoal is because you're able, first of all, Grimmsnarl has the fake out duty if you need a fake out user, but Torkoal's able to like abuse the weather, and so like against rain teams, for example, one of my favorite things to do, if they were to go like Torn Ogre, you could go Torkoal Cali, right? Set the sun, underspeed the Ogre, guarantee sun's up, which means the Tornadus has to choose between using Rain Dance to reactivate to do enough damage, which they won't have enough damage to KO Cali, or they could try to taunt. Either way, they're going to lose, because you switch at your Torkoal turn 1 for the Indeedee, you activate the terrain to protect your Cali from a Prankster taunt, and it gives you a Psychic Seeds boost. So I think Torkoal would be better than Incin in this situation. It just gives you a little bit more oomph in the late game as well. So again, a standard Torkoal set would be something like this. I like choice specs on this sort of team, just so you can be a bit of a bigger bully. It's also a little bit better to help you against like the Solgaleo matchup, which I can tell is probably a hard matchup. Was one reason why we kept Foul Play on Grim instead of using Spirit Break. So it would be something like Eruption, and we're definitely gonna make this Drought. And the cool thing about Torkoal is you don't even have to bring it. You realistically don't. It's a really cool mom, but you don't have to bring it. I like the Heat Wave here. Actually, not Heat Wave. Overheat is the move that I like here. So you can just go single target to play around Wide Guard, because this team is a little bit susceptible to like Wide Guard pins. I like the Earth Power, and I like the Solar Beam. And like a standard Torkoal EV spread, you want to take these EVs out on speed, make them speed reduce. This also helps versus like the Amoonguss matchup, which can kind of be a little bit dicey. We're going to do our best to mitigate that on this last Mon pick, which is the Indeedee. And on a Sash Indeedee, there's nothing wrong with having like full special attack investment at all. If you're having a big problem with things like Cali Shadow, you can cut this for a Shadow Ball. It would also help just a little bit in your Shedinja matchup, which can kind of be a little bit dicey considering both your restricteds can't hit it. So if I were you, I would think about making this Shadow Ball. I know it seems weird, but it's good versus Cali Shadow, and you definitely need the help for Shedinja, because like this guy can't hit it, this guy can't hit it unless you stick a Hailstorm into something else, and they're going to be always switching to stop it, and Dio can't hit it either, so you're stuck using like Grim, Torkoal, Indeedee. So I'd make this Shadow Ball, and then the last change I would make is I'd actually cut Helping Hand for Safeguard. That's what I would do with this team. And this just helps versus the Among Us matchup. You're able just to, you know, safeguard and ignore an Among Us, so Among Us isn't that big of a deal. So those are the changes that I would make to this team. And I think that it's a pretty cool team. So what we're going to do here is we're going to upload to PokePaste. And we're going to give the PokePaste on the Patreon post right here. And if you guys want to see these teams or use some of these rental codes, I really like that you guys are actually using a bunch of the rental codes that people have submitted here in your own games and then giving your own feedback to everyone else in the community. That's super cool. That's one of the main reasons why I make it in a public setting, so everyone can test everything at once. It's so awesome. Here's the team. Be on the lookout for the video where I explain the changes. And I have to spell where right. And so that's pretty much it. There we go. So if you guys like these sort of content and you want to see more videos like this, PokePaste again is right there. I just posted it. So if you guys like this stuff, think about letting me know. I work pretty hard on these, and I have a lot of teams still to work on. But if you will post it, I will get to it. I will get to every single one of these. I don't know if every one of these is going to get a dedicated video, but I'm going to do my best to get to every single one of these, go over them, and give my thoughts on the things that I'd change. We try and do this at least once a month, and I like that we're going a lot more in-depth now and trying our best to give everyone a dedicated video where we use the team, talk about in-game, about the changes that we make after you know, we're done using it, and then we actually make all the changes and explain them through showing the calcs and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Other than that, peace out, and I'll see you guys next time.